Since these computers were really huge, not everyone was able to have a computer like this at home. So, which bring us to the personal computers, which are more modern. So, at first, these personal computers were developed by hobbyists in their garage or at their home. They just did that for fun. One of the guy who did that was Steve Jobs. He became the owner of Apple Computers, which was established in 1976. So I'm sure all of you guys know Steve Jobs later came up with iPod, Apple phones, all that. So he's the guy, one of the guys who's pioneer in personal computing. Then in 1981, IBM came up with PC. So that's what really make computers more popular among business community. So they made them really small and very affordable. So they were accepted by businesses, became the standard hardware designed for most desktop computers. But in the future, we may not have personal computers like that. PC stand for personal computers. Why do you think that is? Because technology always improve and we may have a different type of technology. Do you guys know about cloud computing? So this IBM used to make most of their money developing personal computers, but nowadays they make most of their money providing cloud computing services. So I'm sure you guys know Xbox. So Xbox gaming system was talking about this. They were thinking about as you know, all Xbox system have a video card, some hardware, processor, all of that. And those are very costly for the company. And you have to pay a huge price for that too. But what Xbox is thinking is just to have a cloud computing service. Like you will simply have internet at your home and they will sell you a small device with some controllers, and that device is connected to the internet, but all the video processing, all the game installation, everything is happening at the Xbox main company. They have some servers running some cloud computing. So all you need is the internet. You log in with your username and password. You play any game you want. They were talking about that, but there's a limitation for that. Not everyone will be able to use that system if Xbox were to come up with it, because not everyone have very fast internet. Nowadays, that's the limitation. Not everyone have like 10 gig or 1 gig speed. So if everyone have like 10 gig speed, this would be possible. So in the future, you may not get a PlayStation or Xbox at home. You may have a screen or a TV. Through the TV, you will just log into their server and start playing the game. I think Xbox call it Project Scarlet, and they were gonna come out with it this December, and I think they are not gonna do that anymore because of this limitation I just talked about. By the way, if you don't know what is cloud computing is, it's not something big. It's just like instead of you having a computer at home with all these hardware, like in your laptop you have a processor, memory cards, video cards, all those will be in one location, somewhere remote. So somewhere in New York or something, they will have this huge building with bunch of machines. They will have bunch of video cards, very powerful CPUs, and you connect to them through internet. So that is what we call cloud computing. Having our computing power remotely somewhere else. So end of the 20th century, we had something called internet. Internet revolutionized the communication. So I'm sure all of you know about the internet, World Wide Web. So how it works is, like if you want to send something, they use something called packet switching. Like let's say you want to access some website. That website have some pictures in it. You don't get that picture at once through your network cable or the wireless signal. You get these piece by piece. They're just going to send you one piece of the picture, then another piece of the picture. Once it arrives at your computer, they're going to put these together. You don't really notice this because your internet is so fast. Like maybe during your parents' time when they used dial-up computers, dial-up internet, they might have noticed this. They only see part of the picture at a time. You have to wait till the whole web page is done loading. Also, when you have to send out the email or some message, that's how the data is sent. Small pieces at a time through the network cable or the wireless signals. So internet has really revolutionized the world. As you can see right now, you guys are watching this video through website, through online, because of the internet. So we do a lot of shopping through internet, like Amazon. Like if you need to order a pizza, you would go to the website and place an order. Then they will be delivered. So many transactions are done through the internet. Do you guys know what is the first online transaction in the world? The first one was done between two students, between Stanford University and the MIT University. It was about a marijuana transaction. So that was known to be the world's first one. So the internet was developed in 1985 by the military. So they weren't available for the normal, it wasn't available for the public to use. It was first available for the military. So we call this ARPANET. So because of the military, we have these internet nowadays. So it started because of the Cold War. We also have something called search engine. I'm sure you guys are familiar with Google search, Yahoo search, Bing, and so on. To make the information on the web accessible, software system called search engine were developed. Just because you have internet, you have some website, you cannot really find them unless you have search engines to find them. So like Google. First they started off as a search engine company. You would type in some query, it will find you some relevant information. Now they make most of their money not by search engine. They do that by selling advertisement. So whenever you search for something, Google will record what are you searching and things like that. Then they will send you some relevant advertisement. Then when you click on them, they make some money. Every time you click on the advertisement, Google make like few pennies. So they make so much money out of that. And they don't just do that now. Now you know Android. Android is a Google product and Android operating system. So if you guys were to use Android, that belongs to Google. So you probably know, I don't know if you guys have noticed this. Sometimes it tells you now it's time to go home. Take this route to go to work because the other route have a delay. Because it knows where you work. It knows what time you get off from work. It also knows what time you wake up. It knows most of the things that you do. So these search engines have become more powerful. So there's a privacy issue too. Like what are they really collecting? What kind of information? Just to get an idea, let's see how search engine works. So search engine look for three main things. three major components it has are the tree structure for searching, ranking algorithm, and web crawler. So you guys don't need to remember these. I'm just showing you just to get an idea, just to show you how search engine really work. There's no magic behind it. So let's say in BBC News, if I go to the science section, I get this news about black turbine blades. It says painting one blade of wind turbine black could cut bird strike at wind farms by up to 70%, a study suggests. So let's say I want to search about black turbine blades in Google. So I would go here and type it in, and will this show up? So it's right here. So I have one from BBC. So why did it show up as the third result? It ranked high. The reason is, if this is what you see in a website, but this is not what the Google search engine sees. So the search engine sees this. This is how they know what's in there. They don't see those beautiful pictures and all that. They see a bunch of codes. So what they will look at, they will look at for the words black, turbine, and blade. So for example, if I type in black, I get 35 times. If I type in the word turbine, it comes up 49 times. And blades come up 40 times. So it knows this website is very relevant to what I'm searching. Because of that, they're gonna pull up this news article from the bbc.com as one of the first result. But it's more complicated than that, but I'm just showing you the basic idea. So they would look at, okay, what is the title? Does the title reflect what's in the body of the web page? Because sometimes if it is a scam website, they might have some title like this, but the content might say something completely different. They might try to sell you something or something else. So those won't be very relevant to the search engine. So they do things like that. But the main idea is they look for these keywords, and if you have enough keywords, they use a ranking system. Okay, I'm going to give BBC 20 points. Because of that, it's at the third position. And I have given this website maybe 30 points. Because of that, it has the second place. This one had 40 points, so it's at the first place, and so on. So that's how search engines really works. Compared to back in the days, now computers are really small. Miniaturization of computing machines allow us to have laptops and even cell phones in our hands. If those were like ENIAC machine you saw, the huge ones, you won't be able to fit that in a cell phone. So miniaturization of computing machines have brought computers to everyone. So cell phone is also a computer. Even in your toaster or a microwave, they have a small computer embedded in them. Like the car you drive, whenever you press the gas pedal, it will tell the computer in your car, okay, this much gas is coming up, and use these kind of controls. And we have self-driving cars. They have a computer built in. Because of the miniaturization of computers, all of this is possible. We can have GPS in our computers and so on. So here's a picture of a modern day CPU. These small chips are known as microprocessors. Even though this one is very small, this is much more powerful than that huge ENIAC machine you saw earlier. So this is also a CPU, but this is much more slower than this microprocessor. Since this is the first week of class, I'm not going to go to too much detail because we still have people registering for this class and so on. So we're going to stop here for today. So if you have any question, make sure you email me. Alright, if not, I'll see you in the next class.